Sunday morning. The day obviously looks much better than it was yesterday. If you're following on from the previous video, I constantly have issues with my phone and the sound system in the truck. Sometimes the Apple CarPlay doesn't attach or it won't connect. Other times it connects perfectly. Sometimes it will connect and it'll play your podcast and things like that. But you try and make a phone call and it can't, or send a voice text or something like that, and it can't hear you. Yesterday, when I went out in the truck, I did my usual, I'm going to vlog while I'm driving. And when I first press record, normally it will switch off the podcast or pause it. Didn't do that yesterday. So I had to manually pause the podcast so I could record. I don't know why, but it refused to record any sound. Oh, but it also did it early in the week, but I didn't know that because I wasn't editing till today. So yesterday, pissing down rain. All day. I was meant to have fire training practice in the morning at 10 o'clock, and it started raining at 8:30, and it just didn't stop. And it was like drizzle, heavy, off for a little bit, drizzle, heavy. I ended up taking some soft plastic recycling to the tip down in Blacksland, and then I went to Bunnings to pick up more PVC pipe and connections so I could finish enclosing the cables for the reindeer at the front, which I did talk about, but anyway. I'll just have to show those to you, I think. The forecast for today was cloudy and rain. It's sunny and hot. It's just gone 10 o'clock. So I'm walking the boys because I'm going to be doing all Christmas decorations and stuff in the yard. And I didn't want to run late into the evening and forget about it. Like yesterday when I was finishing up one of our Christmas things, dinner appeared for the boys and I was still outside working. Like I said, it's meant to rain. There's probably still a chance it will, but just like that person in the background, I need to mow after I get the other stuff done. I need to get the old Christmas lights off the roof and put new ones up. And in order to do that, I need to fix my ladder, which broke last January when I was trying to get the lights down. We did get a report back on Sam's MRI, and when the doctor called my wife, he was really vague about what it could and couldn't be. Towards the end of the conversation, she was getting frustrated, and then he said, "Oh, it's cancer." Whereas at the start he was saying, "Oh, it could be this, could be that, maybe this, maybe that, but we don't know." They didn't send his blood off to oncology because they said it takes about a week to get results. So now it's going to take longer to get results because they didn't send it off. And my wife said, "We'll send it off." The report came in, I'm going to butcher the name, it was something like a meningioma or something. It's a round cell cancer that develops usually in the skull. It's not actually the brain tissue that's being affected, it's a new cancer that's just basically growing in there. Sometimes those masses can be benign, so we're actually waiting for the blood work to come back to say whether it's benign or malignant. It's quite a decent sized mass, and oddly enough the report does not give you the dimensions of the mass, which is usually the case with those sort of things. So we're awaiting that blood work, which will say whether it's or hopefully, whether it's cancer or not, which was really weird because the report said that all of his other blood work was excellent. They did take a sample of fluid around his brainstem, which is why the poor little fella's got a big shaved spot on the back of his head. And that was something else that they were sending off to be tested, but it showed some inflammation, swelling. Come on. It wasn't adding anything. My wife was going to go up to the vet yesterday and had an appointment so she could talk to the vet about the report, because she's got it as well. She moved that to Tuesday because of the weather yesterday, and she really wasn't feeling well. If it is that type of cancer that's mentioned, it's not looking good. They say that the prognosis for an untreated dog is several months. A dog that goes through surgery to remove the cancer, because apparently because it's not attached to the brain, it's just putting pressure on the brain. It's a surgery that is done regularly, but they say that the prognosis after that surgery is 6 to 10 months. If you have the surgery and then chemo after it, that'll take it to 12 to 14, 16 months. And they say after the surgery, the dog has to be kept calm while they recover. If you've got other dogs, separate them so they don't go knocking them as they move around. I mean, imagine that. Going through surgery, if you went the whole hog, going through surgery, going through chemo, which will make you sick, you've then got to be basically on bed rest, not with your brother, and your prognosis is a year. It's facing us with a very tough decision. But we've still got to find out if that's actually what it is. But as always, we try and look into some of the information, and so that we can go in prepared. He's showing a lot of the signs and symptoms of that cancer. Not eating, changes in mood, changes in temperament, behaviour, whining and crying a bit more, sensitive to touch in certain areas, sensitivity around the eyes, aggression. Last night, he wanted to play with me like he was a puppy, which he hasn't done in I don't know how long. Look at him now. What are you doing? Come on. Look, he's a happy boy. I think the reason that we're so anxious about this is that one of our previous dogs, who was also like, I think 14, 16, she had an undiagnosed brain tumour. We remember finding pee in the house, blaming it on him, on Sam, because she didn't go in the house. Turned out she had developed incontinence. We thought that was just part of old age. She would get up and wander around a lot more and pace. But then the pacing became a little bit more frantic, I guess. She would whimper a bit more. But the worst part was when she would push her head into the corner or into the wall behind furniture, and she'd just be pushing her head there and like crying. And we just thought it was really weird at first, and it just got worse and worse. I think one of the vets did tell us, like they did a scan and they said it looks like she has a tumour, a brain tumour. It's fairly advanced. One day she was just like, I was at work and she was apparently just pushing her head into the corner of the wall and crying. And when my wife called me, I could hear her over the phone crying in the background. And I rushed away from work. It was on the weekend because I was HSC marking. We found the emergency vet, which is where he went for when he chomped on that chocolate. And she was put to sleep. Struggling with the decision with regard to him, because he knew that dog. I'm not going to say her name because he knows it. And he and Elle had to watch her suffer, and they got quite freaked out by it and would huddle together because of the way she was acting. She'd have a little bit of aggression, that sort of stuff, and so there's all the same signs. Upon reading the stuff, we were thinking, like, if the prognosis post-surgery and treatment isn't much better than the prognosis without it, he's probably going to have a better quality of life, not going through the surgery and just living as long and as happy as he can, and we'll just watch those symptoms. But I'm getting ahead of myself because she's got the visit with the vet on Tuesday. But like I said, we both did some reading, and even like one of the other things that was mentioned, he couldn't have the treatment for because of this mass. It could make that accelerate. Anyway, I wanted to come down to the lookout with them. It's a beautiful day, but it is a bit warm, so I think we'll get heading back. All right.